We think we know what an alien invasion looks like. We have been trained by Hollywood. We expect motherships over the White House. We expect lasers. We expect a fight for survival in the 21st century. But what if the invasion has already happened? What if the Star Wars took place not in a galaxy far, far away, but right here over the skies of Europe 400 years ago? We are told that UFOs are a modern phenomenon, a product of the Cold War, paranoia, and secret military tests. But history tells a different story. Hidden in the archives of humanity are reports that should not exist. Eyewitness accounts of aerial dogfights, detailed descriptions of rocket engines carved into stone tombs, and astronomical knowledge possessed by tribes who had never seen a telescope. These are not myths, they are field reports. Today on 0 Point Lore, we are opening the files on 5 historical records that prove we have never been alone. Our first case is not a vague legend. It is a news report. The date is April 14th, 1561. The city is Nuremberg, Germany. At dawn, the citizens of Nuremberg woke up to a nightmare. They rushed out of their houses into the market squares and looked up. What they saw was so terrifying, it was immediately recorded in a broadsheet, the newspaper of the day, by a man named Hans Glasser. Glasser described a sky filled with dreadful apparitions. He reported massive cylindrical objects, large tubes hovering in the air, and from these tubes emerged swarms of smaller objects, spheres, globes, red, black, and blue. But they were not drifting, they were fighting. Glasser wrote, "The globes flew back and forth among themselves, fighting vehemently. Spheres flew from the sun towards the city, others flew from the city towards the sun. It was an aerial dogfight involving hundreds of craft. And then a new player entered the game." Glasser describes a black spear-like object, immense in size, thrusting into the battle. Was this a mothership, a weapon? For centuries, historians dismissed this as a sundog or a meteor shower, a natural phenomenon misunderstood by superstitious minds. But natural phenomena do not behave like this, and natural phenomena do not leave wreckage. This is the detail that changes everything. This is the 0 point. Glasser reported that after the battle, several of the objects, fatigued and exhausted, fell from the sky. They crashed into the earth outside the city walls, and as they hit the ground, they burned. They wasted away, he wrote, with immense smoke. A sundog does not crash. A meteor does not fight. Smoke rising from the ground implies physical metallic wreckage. It implies that on a spring morning in the 16th century, the people of Germany watched a crash retrieval event 400 years before Roswell. If Nuremberg was an isolated incident, we could dismiss it, a mass hallucination. But history, it repeated itself. Just 5 years later, in the city of Basel, Switzerland, July 27, 1566. Once again, at sunrise, the people of Basel saw the sky turn dark, but not with clouds. Samuel Kokias, a student who recorded the event, wrote, "Large black globes were seen in the air, moving before the sun with great speed and turning against each other as if they were fighting. Some of them became red and fiery, and then faded and went out. Black globes, high speeds, intelligent maneuvers. This was not a weather event. This was a skirmish." Were these the same combatants from Nuremberg? Was Europe in the 16th century a battleground for a war we did not understand? And if they were fighting then, are they still fighting now? We have seen the battles in the sky. But what if the evidence isn't fleeting? What if it was carved into stone, leaving a blueprint that we are only now beginning to understand? What if an ancient king was buried inside a cockpit? Deep in the jungles of Mexico lies the ancient Maya city of Palenque. In 1952, archaeologist Alberto Ruiz Lujillier discovered a hidden staircase leading deep into the heart of the Temple of Inscriptions. At the bottom, he found the tomb of the great Maya king, Kinich Hanab Pakal. King Pakal. Covering his sarcophagus was a massive 5-ton limestone lid, intricately carved, a masterpiece of Maya art. Archaeologists tell us this carving depicts the king falling into the underworld, Xibalba. They say the tree behind him is the world tree. The monster beneath him is the earth monster. It is a symbolic journey of death and rebirth. But look at it through modern eyes. Look at it as an engineer. Pakal is not falling, he is sitting. His body is leaned forward in a position identical to a modern astronaut during liftoff. Look at his hands. They are not resting, they are manipulating controls. Look at his nose. A device is attached to it, suggestive of a breathing apparatus. Look at his feet. They are resting on paddles. And look at what is behind him. The archaeologists call it a monster. But to a modern eye, it looks like a mechanical unit, a fuselage. And at the very bottom, depicting the flames of the underworld, we see exhaust, fire and smoke propelling the craft upward. Is this a depiction of a spiritual journey, or is it a literal diagram? Did the Maya carve what they saw? Did King Pakal possess technology? Or did he perhaps leave this earth not in spirit, but in a ship? From the jungles of Mexico, we travel to the oldest continent on Earth, Australia. Here, in the Kimberley region, the Aboriginal people have guarded a set of paintings for at least 4,000 years. They are called the Wanjanine. Look at them. The Aboriginal oral tradition calls them sky spirits, the creation beings who came down from the Milky Way to create the Earth and its people. But look at their faces. They have massive, bulbous heads, enormous black wrap-around eyes, and most chillingly, they have no mouths. Why no mouths? The legends say that if they opened their mouths, it would rain endlessly and flood the world. Or perhaps they did not need mouths. Perhaps they communicated telepathically. They are often depicted with a strange halo around their heads. Archaeologists call it a headdress. But in the context of sky spirits, does it look like a headdress? Or does it look like a helmet? These paintings are 4,000 years old, yet they depict with terrifying accuracy the exact archetype of the gray alien that abductees report today. Is this a coincidence of art, or is it a portrait of a visitor that has been coming here for millennia? Paintings can be interpreted, carvings can be symbolic, but our final piece of evidence is not art. It is data. It is a piece of astronomical knowledge that is simply impossible. In the 1930s, French anthropologists Marcel Grial and Germain Dieterlen lived with the Dogon tribe in Mali, West Africa. The Dogon were a culture rich in myth, but they possessed no advanced technology, no telescopes, no observatories. Yet the priest revealed to Grial a secret knowledge they claimed to have held for centuries. They spoke of the brightest star in the sky, Sirius, but they said Sirius had a companion. They called it Po Tolo, the star of deepest beginning. They said it was invisible to the naked eye. They said it was incredibly small, yet incredibly heavy. And they said it orbited Sirius every 50 years. Griot recorded this in the 1930s, but here is the 0 point. Western astronomers did not confirm the existence of Sirius B, a white dwarf star invisible to the naked eye, until the late 19th century. And we did not confirm its extreme density or its 50-year orbit until the 20th century. How? How did a tribe in West Africa know the specific orbital period and density of an invisible star? The Dogon have an answer. They do not claim they discovered it. They claim they were told by the Nummo. The Nummo were visitors, amphibious beings who descended from the sky in a great arc that spun and roared like a storm. They came from the Sirius system. They gave the Dogon their culture and their knowledge of the stars. Skeptics claim the Dogon must have learned it from modern travelers, but the artifacts, masks, and sand drawings dating back centuries suggest the knowledge of Po Tolo is far older than any modern contact. It remains the single most disturbing piece of evidence in the ancient alien archive. Information that required a telescope, possessed by a people who had only their eyes. A battle over Germany, a crash in the fields, a king in a cockpit, a portrait of a grey, and a map of an invisible star. We call these myths, we call them art, we call them folklore, because the alternative is too difficult to accept. The alternative is that the official story of our isolation is a lie. The alternative is that the sky has never been empty, and that the wars among the stars have already left scars on our own soil. We are searching for a signal from the future, but perhaps we should be reading the signals from our past. I am 0 Point Lore. If you believe history is hiding the truth, subscribe to the channel and tell us in the comments which piece of evidence convinces you: the Dogon's impossible knowledge or the Nuremberg crash. The truth is right here on Earth.